This is the moment when the supposedly dead killer comes back to life for one last scare. One last scare. One last scare.
Welcome to The Last Scare, a home for horror nerds to come together and gush about their favorite feel-good genre. I'm Jayla with Cam tonight.
Hello.
It's Friday the 13th.
Friday, October 13th. What a lucky night to have a Friday the 13th right smack dab in the middle of spooky season.
Absolutely.
What a blessing and a curse.
We won't have another one until 2028.
Another Friday, October 13th?
Yes.
I thought you meant another Friday 13th.
No.
Which we don't get again until
I meant October.
September, I think.
That's the only time Friday the 13th actually counts for me. Is when it's October.
So if anyone tuned in last week, I did the show by my damn self because this one bailed on me.
No!
Day up.
No!
I'm going to explain. She was throwing me a surprise party for my birthday. But she did bail on me on the day of.
Bailing on you is like not caring.
She said, let's not do the episode. But we had already announced the episode. And for an attempt at professionalism, I said, okay, I guess I'll do it myself.
I didn't want you to do that.
If anyone watched it, it turned out pretty badly. Definitely one of our worst episodes ever.
No!
It's also one of our shortest episodes ever because I said what I could and I gave up. Usually I have 3 other people to bounce off of.
I tried so hard for you to push it back for a day because I was planning your birthday party.
We were talking about It Lives Inside and A Haunting in Venice, and we both watched both of those movies.
Oh.
And well, she fell asleep during A Haunting in Venice. And both movies were less than ideal watches. We're going to start reevaluating what we talk about on the podcast because we keep coming across movies that we don't really enjoy.
I feel like I felt bad because I felt like I had things to say about It Lives Inside, but I was mid-planning your birthday party, and I was hoping you'd go along with canceling.
By the way, you sent me your notes. I butchered them. I did not do justice to your thoughts on those movies. But she was texting me the day of, telling me, I don't know, something just doesn't feel right about this episode. And I was like, we fake it till we make it sometimes. Like sometimes once we've announced an episode, we will watch the movie after that and decide, oh my God, this is horrible. What are we going to do with this? And we come up with something anyway. But she just gave up. And I was like, why?
It was so out of character. And like, it was so funny because I just have nothing really to say. And I sent him like this extensive list of things I had to say about It Lives Inside.
And the time it took to type that out, you probably could have done the real show.
He didn't even call me out on it. Like, they were detailed notes that he had on it.
It was just... And then I got to her house. I got to her house later that night with her and 3 of my closest friends.
You were so annoyed at me up until the point that you drove down my, road.
When I pulled up to her house, I saw my best man's van outside, and I was like, oh my God. And then I saw my baby brother through the window, and I was like...
Dude, we couldn't open the door.
Through the window of the door, it took them 5 minutes to get the door unlocked, because she has this dumbass, digital lock that's broken. And so they were trying to manually open it with a screwdriver.
You probably heard me.
And I was standing outside for probably 3 minutes, having already figured out what was going on here. It was my surprise birthday party. And being the day before my birthday, I really should have seen this coming all day when she was like, this episode just doesn't feel right. I don't think I can do it. I genuinely didn't even think about it.
Cam is so sweet. I was like, oh, it feels so bad. We really should do it. He's like, I can pick you up right now. We can what can I do? And I felt so bad because you were doing the opposite of what I was trying to achieve.
Oh my goodness. The episode's up there. It's certainly there. Luckily, we pre-recorded half of it immediately after seeing the movie.
The movie I fell asleep during. I was tired that day. I know. Anyways.
Quick hello to Jordan Sith Morrison.
Hi!
What's up? Also, hello to Mama T. That's Jayla's mom.
I love you so much, Mama.
Thank you for the belated happy birthday, Jordan. And another hello to Indiana Old, who says, I'm sure the episode is still a better watch than Exorcist Believer. Also, happy birthday, Cam. Thank you, Mr. Ford.
I will hold my thoughts. I'll bite my tongue.
We have not seen Exorcist Believer yet. If you have Indiana Old, let us know how it is. But
maybe I'm not looking forward to it.
We're thinking about skipping it. We're thinking about skipping it.
No! We are. But
Blake is going to be the only one making us watch that movie.
Blake is the deciding factor of it. Honestly, if Blake watches it, we will watch it and cover it. But if
Blake wants to make that episode happen, we'll do it. But,
absolutely.
But if not, we're just not gonna.
Pretty much. That's the deciding factor. Cam, do you have any news for me?
The news. Miramax got the rights to the Halloween franchise.
Yeah, they were in a bidding war with A24.
Wish A24 had won, kind of, but
well, like, I'm happy with it because A24 already has the rights to Friday the 13th. And outside the main three, the trio of slashers I call them with Freddy, Friday, and Jason, I feel like Jason is the one that just really has not gotten the chance to shine out of them. So out of all of them, I feel like I'm happiest with A24 handling with Jason going forward.
Yeah, but Halloween.
We don't need more.
We don't need more.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Jason is the one that I feel, out of the three, Jason's the one I want to give an actual chance to, and I want to have more opportunity for. I feel like he's the one that I'm like, no, there's some stuff that hasn't been utilized that needs to be worked on here outside of, especially when compared to Freddy or Michael.
Yeah. Paramount owns Miramax, so there's sort of maybe an inevitable Scream Halloween crossover, which would be way too meta.
No. There is not inedible. They can't do it. I need you to not give them ideas.
It's a terrible idea, and I hope it doesn't happen.
Awful idea. There's no crossover. There's no thematic crossover. There's nothing these two movies can do to mesh well together, and I need them to not. Just let it die.
It's just something they could do that I don't want. It's just a possibility, just due to rights and whatnot.
Just let it die.
Let it die.
Let it die. We don't need... Halloween was never meant to be this outstretched franchise in the first place. It's a great campfire story. They turned it into a movie. Leave it at that. Let's create something new.
Leave it at the one movie.
I kind of liked Halloween Ends.
I didn't mind it. I
liked it more than Kills, and I know, I'm gonna get a little bit of shit for that. But look, I'm not mad that Ends happened.
Sure. Let's move on. Friday the 13th. It's Friday, October 13th.
It is.
And
we watched 3 last night.
We crammed all 3 of these last night.
We sure did.
4, 5, and 6.
The Tommy trilogy.
The Tommy Jarvis trilogy. It's real bad.
I will say, before we get into details of all 3, one of the things that we talked about a lot is not having a
central protagonist.
Yeah, exactly. Not having
character.
Someone to follow throughout these movies. And that fixed this. I liked Tommy's character. I enjoyed his arc as a character. I thought it was great to have something to connect throughout these movies. Connect these movies together, I mean.
Sure, let's see if they do that again.
They won't.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I knew they don't.
They don't.
From all the damn IMDb trivia I've been
I just
reading.
want to let you know, they don't.
They tried. They certainly tried.
Listen, as a fan of when, Friday the 13th kind of just let's go, and gets a bit wacky. I enjoyed Jason Takes Manhattan. I really like Jason X. Freddy vs. Jason is fun for me. And honestly, I won't lie, I think the remake is a good one. I think the remake is a good choice to happen.
I haven't watched all of those yet, so
we'll get there.
We'll get there. Tonight we're talking about 4, 5, and 6.
Yes.
The final chapter, quote unquote.
Poor choice of name.
We'll
I know.
Then a new beginning, and then Jason Lives.
Yeah, I know that the final chapter, the executive that made the first Friday happen was like, we're done. This is it.
Frank Mancuso Jr.
There you go.
He wanted to end it here because he didn't feel he was getting the respect that he deserved from the movies, even if they were financially successful.
A bit egotistical of him, huh?
Yeah, and so he and Tom Savini joined forces to kill Jason off one last time, and yet,
they just don't know how to let go.
No.
They don't know how to let go of Jason.
But here we are.
What an intro, honestly. If nothing else, Friday the 13th knows how to give you a title card.
Yeah, all the title cards on all the movies are really, really stellar and awesome.
Yeah, that's the one thing we're always, maybe this will be good. There's a great title card.
They definitely attempt to set the tone in a fun and interesting way.
I feel like the title card doesn't resonate until the third movie we're talking about tonight, but we'll get there.
What is up with the final chapter? What's the premise? What's the idea?
Ooh, we have Jason. We think he's dead. He's a goner,
Yeah, he
right?
died at the end of the third one, right?
We think, but...
Yeah, he definitely died, right? Yeah.
No.
Oh.
I'm sorry. He gets to the morgue. They have a really sketchy morgue dude.
Oh, yeah, what's his name? Axel.
Axel, he's a bit sketchy.
Axel, you're the Super Bowl of self-abuse.
What does that even mean?
I'm pretty sure self-abuse means whacking himself. If you know what I mean.
What was he even watching?
He was watching, like...
I don't want to judge, but, like, there's no workout videos that look like what he was watching, and also, it wasn't a porno. So what was he watching?
It was workout videos.
It was just, like, close-up of women's, like, crotch in leotards. That's what he was in.
Yeah, a lot of bending over and
There
such.
wasn't even, like, a workout regimen that went with it. Anyways, he was trying to get with this nurse. And Jason was in the morgue. And they both die. And Jason goes off.
Yeah, Jason didn't really die, once again.
Of course.
For the fourth time.
Yes.
And it's still never really explained what power it is that does this, that brings him back all the damn time.
It's the power of mommy issues.
He didn't really have mommy issues. He had like
He's always had mommy issues.
No, he has a good mother.
No.
It's not explicitly a psycho situation. He has a good mother who was taking revenge because some counselors
the thing is, he's always motivated and like distracted by his mother. He has mommy issues.
No, you're thinking of Norman Bates.
I'm not thinking of Norman Bates.
Bates.
Jason has mommy issues.
Norman Bates was just soaking in blood by the end of that movie.
Jason has mommy issues.
Get it? Soaking?
I'm kidding you. Jason has mommy issues. I don't know what to tell you. Sure. Like, I'm sorry. As a mom who is so, like, enveloped that she starts murdering, which I don't want to, like, say.
It's a good mother. It's a good mother.
Sure. Just tell us about 4, please.
All right. So
Jason has mommy issues.
We got little Tommy boy, little Tommy Jarvis. It's Corey Feldman. Surprise, surprise.
Known for Goonies, Stand By Me, and Lost Boys.
That Corey Feldman, yes.
There's all.
That's the one.
That's the one. Just so anyone else isn't confused.
And he's a little genius. He opens up the hood of the car when it breaks down or something.
He is, yeah. It makes me think about, what was it? No, it wasn't Wonder. It was that one movie where the kid's doing his mom's taxes or whatever, and he dies. And then mom has to kill the neighbor's dad to save the girl, like save his daughter.
What? Is this that Kevin Spacey movie?
No, it's like, maybe. It was like this.
The one with Haley Joel Osment?
It was this super genius kid. It came out recently. It was a super genius kid. And like he like left a book. He got the book for his mom because the kid knew he's gonna die from whatever illness before the doctors knew. And then like he like, left out an instruction booklet for his mom to kill the neighbor's dad because the neighbor's dad was abusing his daughter.
Okay, that last bit sounds familiar.
Yes, it was during the school play. It was during the school play, and the mom left halfway through it to kill the dad. Because the son left it. It was was it Book of Eli?
That's the Denzel
That's the
movie.
Denzel Washington movie. It was something like that. He got the book for her.
I don't know, Jayla. I haven't seen that.
He was a weirdly smart kid. Anyways, Friday the 13th, part 4.
So Tommy was supposed to be a genius because originally they wanted to have him create this microwave machine to kill Jason with. They wanted to have him... Also, the character was modeled after Tom Savini, hence his interest in special effects makeup and masks.
That adds up. That really adds up because he had a lot of like advanced animatronics and masks that he made throughout the movie that he was showing off.
Indiana Old says Corey Feldman, the best Donatello. Sith Morrison agrees, absolutely the best Donatello.
Oh, was he Donatello in the live action movies? Oh my god, guys, you're gonna make me have a moment here. I am a big TMNT fan, at least over Cam over here. I grew up with the first round of live action movies.
I didn't grow up on Ninja Turtles, so recently when we tried to watch them in preparation for the new one, it just didn't really gel for me. However, I did enjoy Mutant Mayhem quite a bit on its own standing. I thought it was a lot of fun.
For sure.
It was a fun movie.
For sure. Go on.
Anyway, Tommy's parents split up, and Dad really left Tommy with a lot of responsibility because, I mean, he's having to fix the car and do all sorts of shit around the house that he shouldn't have to do. But he's a little whiz kid. Mm-hmm. He's a little genius. Also appearing in this is Crispin Glover, who played George McFly in Back to the Future. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing that he got the role of George McFly off the back of this movie because they saw that he could be a big little bitch. Just an absolute little bitch all throughout the movie.
He wasn't.
Yeah,
He was sweet.
He's such a little...
Compared to Ted?
Ted was just annoying, but
Exactly.
But George McFly in this was just like a little pick-me, insecure little... Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he's like, oh, everyone calls me...
What did they call him, Cam? Go on.
I genuinely forgot, but it was something to do with his lizard not working, his reptile dysfunction. You get it? Because his lizard didn't work. That's a stupid joke.
Oh, Jesus. Anyways, I felt like he was sweet and well-meaning.
Whatever.
Compared to the other ones? Compared to the other men on this trip? Compared to the other guys? At least he wasn't like a straight-up douchebag. I mean, Ted?
Here's the thing. This is our fourth group of white teenagers who have no distinguishing character traits.
They use the same names in this movie.
They recycle like 4 or 5 names in this, including Ted and Paul. Because I guess the writers were like, oh, we've already used those names. And they're like, well, realistically... there's actually like a lot of people named Paul.
I feel like they didn't even realize they reused names.
They might not have, because every character is so damn generic and disposable, and yet they spend a good 30-45 minutes attempting to develop these characters. Maybe so we'll give a damn when they are killed off.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
What a shame.
Points. What do I want to talk about?
I will say,
Go on.
this was a movie that they don't really show any of the kills on screen, right?
Yeah, so all of these movies had
Until
to
like
get...
6.
They wanted to have some good kills, I think, but Paramount and the MPA prevented them from doing so because they had to cut out a whole bunch of stuff to
they did.
to avoid an X rating, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
All the kills across all three of these movies are just so lame.
I feel like 4 has some good ones. Because they actually showed them.
I think the...
Or no, sorry, 6.
The sixth one had a few good, bloodier, gorier kills. We'll get there.
The thing is, like, Jason likes more, to this point, Jason likes a lot of head crushes more than, like machete slashes.
He really loves stabbing through things. Like, he loves to stab up through a bed.
Or a canoe.
Yeah, or a raft.
Yeah.
Just, floating objects.
He likes to just stab through versus stabbing at.
Yeah.
Yes.
Porta potty walls.
Porta potty walls, that's another one, yeah.
Jordan says, I still stand by my statement that the wackier the F-13 films got, the better they were.
I agree so hard. That's why I'm like, we're kind of like dredging through these until we get to Jason Takes Manhattan and we get to Jason X, Freddy vs. Jason.
But part 6, which we'll get to tonight, definitely started.
No, I agree.
That.
Part 6 is where it starts to finally kind of uptake the wackiness.
Well, let's wrap up part 4.
Sure.
Where does Tommy leave off? He shaves his head. He just has... Okay, so Tommy Jarvis has a full psychotic break before he kills Jason.
So, like, there's this one guy that's there that already knows Jason's, like, thing. So he's prepared to hunt him.
Rob.
Yeah. He dies. He's like, Jason's killing me.
He's killing me. Like, thanks for spelling that out for us.
He says that so many times. He's killing me, run. He's killing me. Like, Jesus. Anyways, he's basically the blueprint for Tommy.
The blueprint for Tommy?
Yeah. He's, like, prepared to hunt down Jason.
You think that he prepared Tommy and Tommy didn't prepare himself with his genius whiz kid antics?
He laid down the foundation for Tommy to run. Because without him, he had his little backpack of, like, Jason hunting tools. He was the one that kind of sparked the idea to hunt down Jason in Tommy's eyes, if you ask me.
Okay. That's fair enough.
Thank you.
So Tommy shaves his head, goes full Uncle Fester.
Mostly. He has his little like...
Yeah, he looks creepy as fuck.
he had his little picture of, like, pre-death Jason hung up on his wall, on the mirror, as he's, like, shaving his head, as his sister gets nearly murdered.
Yeah, and their mom disappeared, and we don't find out that her death is confirmed until the 6th movie.
Yeah, there's like, she died.
They had a scene, and it was cut.
Of course.
There was an alternate ending where Trish finds Mrs. Jarvis's body, but they cut it.
Of course he did.
Another idea that they didn't use for this movie was that it was going to be a prequel with Pam Voorhees fighting her husband for custody.
Oh my God.
For Jason's custody. And apparently... it was decided that the movie was too dark for the franchise. I'm wondering what that would look like a psychological thriller, or is it because apparently slashers were starting to get less popular at this point.
Right.
Returns were really dropping off at this point, hence only 5 more movies.
Only
5 or 7.
Only. Jeez, I feel like that would have been more interesting. That's so weird to think there's like a custody battle result.
That I just want to know what could have been.
Anyways.
Anyway, Tommy hacks him up with a machete.
Yes.
Very hard.
He does. He's like, die. It was a little bold self. He's just kind of like going at it.
And then it fades to white, and they should have left it there, but of course they tack on another hospital scene. They just had to shoehorn in the same ending they had for like 4 other movies where they're all in a hospital room talking about, Jason, did we get him? And they're like, yeah, you got him.
Yep.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
But whatever. They should have left it at that. But they were going to wrap it up there, but it only took them. It was only months later till they decided, let's do a 5th movie.
They're pretty greedy, aren't they?
So then we got A New Beginning.
After the final chapter.
The final chapter, and they're like, psych, 1 year later.
Won't lie to you. I'll be honest with you guys. A New Beginning really melts into the final chapter. I feel like Jason Lives kind of stands on its own a little bit more between these two. In
tone, at least.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's another new director. Basically, none of these movies have any of the same directors or writers. They're creatively handing these off to just slews of bad hired hands.
That's wonderful to hear.
No, creative oversight. A lot of studio interference.
Uh-huh.
Real rough stuff. But
I hate that.
The director of this one is Danny Steinman. And he pressured a lot of ladies to do a lot of nude scenes that they did not sign up for. This is the horniest of the first 6, at least.
This was before we had...
it's the most sex and nudity in all of these.
This is before we had intimacy coordinators.
I'm pretty sure that's relatively new.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, this was before...
Oh, you said right before, so I thought...
This was before we had intimacy coordinators.
Long before.
From what I understand, he was on a lot of cocaine.
Yeah, he was very hard to work with. He was very mean to everyone.
Yeah, from what I understand, he was, just do what you want. And then took
Production
a lot of cocaine.
Was troubled.
And he pressured a lot of these ladies to shoot scenes nude.
Apparently, the one in the woods where she gets stabbed in the eyes with the shears.
Oh, what's her name? It's so sad.
The actress's name, I have it here, was Deborah Voorhees.
You're fucking with me.
No, for real. Her name was Deborah Voorhees, and...
Shit, dude.
And she... they spent like a 13-hour, which is like a standard shoot day. 12 hours, but they go over all the time. Long-ass day shooting this one scene, and apparently... what was his name? Frank Mancuso Jr., the former producer, did not like Danny Steinman, the director of this one, and said that he basically shot a porno here and that they cut tons and tons of sex and nudity from this movie.
I also heard that. If you guys didn't know, there is like a 6-hour long Friday the 13th documentary available on Shudder right now that I've watched more than once.
I haven't watched it. I probably ought to watch that.
You should. They used to show it on like cable.
It's an older documentary?
It's older, yeah. But they have one for Nightmare on Elm Street. They have one for Friday the 13th. I have watched both multiple times. That's all. That's the whole bit I have to say. Anyways, this one definitely has a lot of nudity in it. And knowing it came from a time where young actresses were pressured more to be nude, sometimes makes me a bit uncomfy. A little bit. Because, before we had these positions or jobs to ensure everyone feels safe and comfortable and they're doing it on their own will, there's this kind of like power dynamic in horror, especially, as someone that loves horror, this is a part of the history. To do X, Y, Z in order to further their career, in order to chase their dreams. And it does make me uncomfy looking back at it, because I know the history behind it.
Yeah. And the reason that he had so much sex and nudity in this movie really backfired, because the idea was to distract from the more violent, gory scenes. So he thought if we put a lot of sex and nudity in, the MPA will want to have us delete the sex scenes, and then we can kind of slip the good, violent, gory bits in. But apparently the studio had them cut the violence, which is really frustrating because all of the kills in this movie, damn near all of them, are completely neutered. They just
off screen.
They cut away. It's off screen. There's like minimal special effects involved. It's just really boring. And for a subgenre whose whole thing is literally just the violence, just the killing, there's not a lot. There's no good killing in this.
As an admitted lover of slashers, I found myself ultimately frustrated, especially coming off of franchises that have someone like Laurie in Halloween, or Nancy in Nightmare, or Sydney in Scream. It's really frustrating for me to watch these movies and not see the opportunity for a really strong character, a really strong final girl to go up against the big baddie. You know what I mean? That was always my biggest thing about the Friday movies, and then my biggest thing about like why among the top trio, as I call them, with Friday, Halloween, and Nightmare, it's just like there's not this central character that's the complete badass. Sydney is a badass. Laurie is a badass. And Friday, it's kind of like these women who show their boobies and they get killed.
Yeah.
We have Tommy, who I'm grateful for, don't get me wrong. But I feel like the women in the Friday movies up to this point, at the very least, are just used for their bodies and used to be killed. And I feel kind of frustrated at that, looking back.
Yeah, the studio told him, since Mancuso Jr. was out and they were worried about ticket sales with like the one guy who had been the through line for the first four, they were worried it wasn't going to go so well after this, and so they told Steinman to up the sex and nudity, just do more of that to help with ticket sales.
Right.
And it kind of worked, which I'm not saying is a good thing. It's just
No.
because this is a terrible movie.
No. Oh, wait.
And Seth Morrison agrees, says Part 5 is very low on my list. Just rewatched it today, actually, and it's just not good. Tommy is the best part, and he's barely in it.
100%. He really is. And listen, I love my final boys. Don't get me wrong. I do. It's just for me, seeing all these movies where women are consistently naked, are consistently used for their sex appeal, not being able to have the opportunity to use that agency and kind of reclaim that in these movies, I did end up feeling a bit frustrated.
Yeah, for sure. The director was hired because he had made schlocky movies before.
Right.
One of them being a porno.
I remember that, yeah.
So that's what they wanted.
And I don't know. That's my whole thing. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I was about to just move on to a different point.
No, yeah, that's my whole thing. I don't know. I feel like that I would love to see women have their agency against Jason. That's my biggest thing.
Absolutely. I would also like to see Tommy. Tommy, I really liked the idea that we had like a very young protagonist.
Absolutely.
Coming back, but then time jump, and suddenly he's like a young man instead of a child, which I don't know if it's because they couldn't get Corey Feldman. They only got him for a cameo at the beginning because he was shooting Goonies.
Yeah, he was young still. He was young still, and if the time jump was something they wanted to do, I would have loved to see Tommy team up with like a final girl. For me, personally. I'm just cheering on the girlies of the Friday 13th because they've been done dirty.
Absolutely. I really like Alice from the first one.
Yeah, I know. Me
Alice
too.
Alice was cool. I liked her.
She was. Alice was cool. What was the biker lady's name from 3? We can't even think of it.
I got my notes over here. I got to flip.
As he
back.
flips.
Yeah.
A24 has access to. They own the rights to Friday the 13th.
Fox?
So. Fox, that was her name.
Yeah.
She was a badass. She was cool.
She was a cool punk lady.
And then they killed her.
Yeah.
They killed our cool punk lady. And it makes me really sad. I would have loved to see someone that was considered a villain towards the protagonist at first be able to step into the role of a protagonist herself. Mm-hmm. When faced with the threat that Jason is. But we don't get that.
There's no carryover.
There's none
whatsoever.
Tommy is the only carryover
through
we get.
all of these.
Oh my goodness. Yep. Yeah. It's rough. I feel so bad for any like Friday the 13th fans because I understand the love for the concept. I understand the excitement for this villain that's this like threatening force of nature, right? But you do not have this character to stand by as in for something to go against that force. Like as a Scream fan, I have Sydney. Halloween fans have Laurie.
Yeah.
What did Jason fans have besides Tommy, who doesn't even show up
Just
till
Tommy.
like years into it and for 3 movies? You know what I mean? Like they really need this like character that has this like presence to them.
Yeah. The plan was to turn him into Jason, basically have him be a Corey Cunningham situation.
Yeah, I picked up on that, and that makes it even worse. They can't even get the one character they have to be this opposing force to Jason to stay that way. What?
They turn Tommy into this angry, troubled Batman figure.
Oh my god!
Who's just cruising for a bruise, and he's looking for a fight. You know, he's in the healing center, beating people up.
Doesn't he murder? No, that was the other guy. No, there's a random murder in the beginning of this, isn't there? He kills that one. He was like chopping wood, he kills that guy for no reason.
So you got this guy who's eating the most melted chocolate bar you've ever seen.
Oh my god!
And it's a really embarrassing portrayal. But he just gets murdered by this one guy for
no reason
at the healing center because he was annoying, I guess.
No, he gets like slightly annoyed.
Everyone there was a little troubled. I think maybe the depictions of
"Hi, Dad.
Hey, what's up?" Your guy Nick says, "Yo."
That's my dad, and I'm venting about how much the Friday series has put me through it. He gets it.
Yeah. Where were we?
We were talking about the intro to 5 and how, like, the poor guy got murdered for being annoying. And you think they're going to do this. Spoiler, obviously. 5, Jason isn't even the killer. He's not even the freaking killer.
Yeah, so ultimately it's the cop
Roy?
who was secretly the father of the kid that gets killed, which isn't something they hinted at all whatsoever. They just
establish it.
No, they just throw it in at the end. It's a bad movie.
It's so poorly set up. And like we've done this whole like, oh, Jason isn't even really the killer in the first one. They could do it again, don't get me wrong. But also, the setup is poor because like the guy, this poor dude just gets murdered and they don't bring it up again. And they reveal that it's not Jason at all. It's this other dude. But then in the 6th one, it is Jason again. What? Where does this body come from? What are they doing?
It's all behind the scenes reason for all of this shit.
Go on.
We'll get to that when we get to 6.
I don't have anything else to say about 5 unless you do.
5 has a few interesting characters. Not that they're great characters, but there is Reggie the Reckless with the Riz.
Oh my god, there is. I do like Reggie.
Reggie's
Poor
a
Reggie.
fun little kid. He's got the Riz.
His brother gets murdered after having some bad enchiladas in a porta potty. I can't think of a worse way to get murdered.
Yeah. And who else? There's the redneck couple.
Yeah.
Who hate crazy people. They're at the healing center. I keep calling it a healing center. It's a halfway house, but healing center.
Healing center, halfway house. Same idea.
At the beginning, they're establishing this isn't like other places. You can be like free here and go at your own pace. So I just like to think of it as a healing center.
Oh, jeez. My thing is, they really overplayed that couple.
Yes, they hate crazy people, yet they are fucking nuts.
They're insane!
They're just like constantly screaming at each other.
She's making this big pot of stew for 2 people?
They're like the couple from that one episode of Breaking Bad with the ATM.
Oh my god.
If you know, you know.
They made me think of Men in Black in a way.
I haven't watched that in a while.
When like Vincent D'Onofrio was like, he came over the aliens. He's like, ugh. He goes up to his house with his wife, and his wife's like bitching at him.
I don't remember.
Anyways, that's what it made me think of.
Jordan says F-13 just suffers from really bad writing and awful studio interference. I do like the F-13 franchise, but it's an overall weak franchise that is in desperate need of revival.
Absolutely. That's why I'm happy that it's in the hands of A24 currently.
All these murders happen because of a chocolate bar. That's great.
That's why I'm so happy that it's in the hands of A24, because I feel like A24 can take the concept of Friday the 13th, which is good, don't get me wrong, it's good, and actually do something with it besides like, oh, titties and blood, because that's kind of what's been going on up to this point.
It's a streaming series, we'll see, but A24 has a good reputation with
I
TV.
have faith, I'm sorry.
They did Euphoria. A24 did. They can do good TV shows.
I cannot think of an A24 thing they put out, even if I didn't like it, that I can't respect.
Sure, yeah. At least in the past bunch of years. I think there's some early A24 stuff, when they're first starting out, that's a little...
I can't really think... I didn't like Beau Was Afraid, but I still respect it.
Yeah, I mean, Ari Aster is an absolute king. I'll still go see any of his movies.
Right.
It was exactly what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It really was.
Like I said, I feel like if there's anyone to revive a slasher series, I trust A24. And if there's any series I feel like still has potential, it would be Friday the 13th.
Jordan says titties and minimal blood. Maximal titties.
But he's not wrong. He really isn't, because they would show on full-on boobie, but they would cut away. They'd be like, oh, we can't show this death scene.
Yeah.
There was cocaine use. There was titties.
No male nudity, no tallywhackers.
No, of course not. Of course not. We know that. There was only boobies. There was only lady. They don't really show like lady genitalia. I feel like they only showed boobies.
I don't know.
Point so stands.
Anyway,
fellas, you need to stand up for Friday the 13th.
Anyway, Frick Part 5, I'm done. We moving on?
Yeah, we're moving on.
All right, Part 6, which opens with an amazing James Bond intro. I pissed myself when I watched this.
You were giggling. You were tickled.
I was laughing hard. I was actually very happy with this title sequence.
You and me both, but like your reaction made it even better.
It set the tone to where I realized, okay, the franchise has finally become self-aware.
That's what I was going to say. It felt like this was the one where they were finally like, okay, all right.
And Tommy has regenerated once again.
This time he's a bit stupider. He's like, I gotta go to Jason's grave. I gotta dig him up. I gotta do it myself, even though he's buried right now.
Yeah, the last one was sort of a brooding Batman type, and this one's just like a fucking Chad. And also, he waltzes in. So at the beginning of this movie, they waltz into Jason's grave to cremate the body to just make sure he's really dead. Mm-hmm. And then he gets brought back to life with fucking lightning.
He has maggots all over him. His friend gets killed.
And for some reason, they brought the mask to the grave, and so they inadvertently bring him back to life and give him his mask back. It's an amazing setup. It's a ridiculous, ludicrous movie.
His poor friend, like, we gotta go. This is a bad idea. And Tom's like, no, I gotta make sure that Jason's dead. Even though
and when he comes back to life, he just leaves. He could throw gasoline all over him and light him on fire there. He kind of tries to light the matches, but he ends up running away, and he just unleashes Jason once again. Once again.
He's such an asshole. He gets his friend killed. His friend is begging. His poor friend's begging to leave. Absolutely. Just like, can we please go? This is an awful idea. Tommy is just like, no. No. We gotta do this. And he doesn't even do what he sets out to do. What's going on? Tommy, you think you're a Jason expert? Really? You got your friend killed. You almost get a cabin full of children killed.
It's a mess. It's a real
so
mess.
Bad.
So there's a dream sequence at the beginning of the 5th one where Tommy is envisioning 2 people going to dig him up and accidentally reviving him. And yet he and some other random dude.
What's his name?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't know.
We'll call him Brody.
I stopped trying to keep track of people's names because everyone's disposable. He had a prophetic dream and they were the grave robbers.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So this movie influenced Kevin Williamson to write Scream somehow.
Wow, really?
Because apparently
It was so bad, he was like, this is ridiculous. I need to, like, make fun of this right now.
the idea is that this one is more meta because, like, one character mentions that there are horror movies that exist, and if you act like people in those, you're gonna
You
get
mean
killed.
the woman that gets like, I've seen enough horror movies to know the
Yes.
guy in a mask is no good.
Yes.
And she gets killed anyways.
The idea of a self-aware, somewhat meta horror movie.
Shout out to Kevin real quick, because to be able to take that one line and be like, no, like, they're
Well,
onto something.
Well, apparently people Kevin Williamson included, saw more of the meta stuff in this movie.
Okay.
I just don't really see it personally. That's the only example I can give.
I will say that personally, I will say this movie is where the fun starts, where they kind of like let go of taking themselves seriously.
It's really goofy, and the kills are considerably better and gorier.
Yes.
There's a moment where they're in the woods, and like Jason kills someone by like splatting his face on like a tree or something.
Oh, and there's a smile.
It makes a smiley face imprint on the tree, and then he picks up the guy's arm, and he's like, "Oops." He doesn't say it, but it's like, "Oops, I accidentally ripped off his arm." It's really funny,
There's this
actually.
office team building situation going on with like paintball, and they all get murdered, and he gets slammed to the tree, and there's like a smiley face as he like falls down.
Yeah.
It's so weird. The weirdest thing about these movies is people just hang out in the woods. There's always like a group or at least one person that gets murdered for just hanging out in the woods. You have like couples just chill in the woods. You have the group of like co-workers hanging out in the woods.
Yeah, it's finally not people having sex. This is the first and maybe the only one to have no nudity. There's no nudity.
There's no nudity in it?
There is a sex scene or two, but
wow.
no nudity.
That's kind of insane.
Because the director of this one, Tom McLaughlin, said, "I just don't buy into the idea that you have sex and then you die."
Shout out to Tom.
Yeah, respect to Tom.
Because, like, all the other ones, I feel like you can't go 30 minutes without at least a nipple.
Yeah.
At least one lady nipple. They don't show, like, male nudity, but they definitely have a lot of lady nipples going around. Mm-hmm. Stabbed through, possibly cut off.
Yeah.
Anyways, go on. Any fun facts about 6?
Any fun facts? Oh, let me look at my notes here.
I made Cam write all the fun facts for 6 because I'm like, I don't care until we get to Jason Takes Manhattan and Jason X. So,
the final kill, the one where they kill Jason, was shot in the director's parents' pool, and the special effects bits got all up in the pool filter and broke it, and so he had to replace it.
Wow, dedication, right?
Yeah, his parents were probably pissed.
Can you imagine pissing off your parents for filming like a major movie in your pool?
It's just nice that they supported his dreams.
Oh God, Cam, can't believe you broke this camera in our pool.
My parents don't even have a pool.
I know. I'm just trying to make it relatable.
So they rename Camp Crystal Lake because of all the bad juju.
It's a lot of murders connected to it, honestly. It's not really a great name to have thrown around.
It's Camp Forest Green now.
That's a stupid name.
Well, we named it we named it after the Crystal Lake. What are we gonna call it now? Well, there's also the forest.
It is green.
Yep.
It's
Camp Forest Green.
It's great. No one will ever make the connection. No one will ever know that this is Camp Crystal Lake, where we had 15 plus murders at this point. Any group of teenagers that go to the land at these campgrounds get murdered, but we can't let anyone know.
Yeah, no one's ever going to talk about it again once we rename the town
to Forest Green. But anyways,
what's the idea in this movie?
Tommy's had enough. Tommy is like, oh, I'm done, but also he brings back Jason, so he tries to tell the police, like, listen, Jason's back, and the police are like, you're a murderer, until they get killed, and they realize that Jason really is back.
And of course, they think that since there has been a copycat killer who has used the guise of Jason, that's going to happen again, which would make sense, But no, the power of lightning. The power of self-awareness.
Jesus.
There's a kid in here named Nancy, and she's having a dream.
She is. She's having nightmares of monsters.
Which seemed this was like 2 years after Nightmare on Elm Street.
Her first dream was, I had a nightmare about a monster, and we both looked at each other like,
okay, Nancy.
Was that purposeful?
Supposedly, the character is actually named after the director's wife.
Bullshit.
Yeah. But
I really like the narrative that Leggett actually is our lovely, beloved Nightmare on Elm Street Nancy. And it's just kind of leading into Freddy vs. Jason. And honestly, respect to the wife. No disrespect. But I like that a bit more.
It'd be interesting if they were actually building up to the crossover, which at the time they were not, because...
Of course not.
At this point, it was still Paramount doing the Friday movies and New Line Cinema doing the Freddy movies.
We could do a whole video on the issues revolving around the Friday the 13th licensing. It's a mess.
I'm sure someone else has already done it.
It's a nightmare. It's so bad.
The first one that New Line did was Jason Goes to Hell, which you may notice is the first one that's not called Friday the 13th. And they're like, no, this isn't the Friday franchise. This is the Jason franchise. From then on, they all, other than the reboot remake, they are all called Jason such and such.
You think that Evil Dead has had issues with licensing? You have no idea until you look into the Friday the 13th shit show.
And now Friday the 13th is no longer owned by New Line, which means they can't do Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
But it is owned by A24. And I'm sure I've already said it during this episode. If there's anyone that I trust with the property, it's A24. And if there's any franchise among the top trio of slashers between Freddy, we don't need any more Freddys. We don't need any more Halloweens. But Jason has really not have had the opportunity to truly shine.
Do you want to see him cross over with any other A24 horror properties?
I don't think he can.
A24 does not do a lot of sequels or franchises. They've pretty much got the Ty West X trilogy.
Right.
And they won't. They won't go there. I'd be fucking mad if they did.
I don't need them to cross over, but I do think Jason is the only franchise that we'll get there. We'll get there, Jordan. Don't worry. I do feel like Friday the 13th, Jason is the one franchise that has opportunity left within it. I feel like it's the one franchise that hasn't had its chance to shine yet. It's the one long-running one that has a lot of lore that really has not found the hands of someone to make a truly, absolutely mind-blowing Friday the 13th movie with the potential that the lore provides. I do like the remake. I think the remake is good. I think the remake is a good start, but I do truly believe that there's more to be had, especially compared to Halloween or Nightmare. I feel like Halloween has had its chance. I feel like Halloween has given us really satisfying movies. I feel like Nightmare has given us really satisfying movies, and I would not ever want a Freddy that's not done by Robert Englund anyways. But Jason is the one that is that hasn't really had that chance yet.
Yeah. So where do we leave off in this movie?
Jason dies again.
He opens his eyes right at the end, though. I do not like these endings where it's
He's
like...
stuck underwater, though. They can't get him out.
The characters got away, but the killer's still alive. That is not a satisfying ending whatsoever. It is sequel bait. It's obviously sequel bait, which is fine, but you still need to wrap up the story in some case. Like, in some way, I mean. The characters got away. Okay. Well, he's still right there. It's like probably 2 minutes after the wrap up where he dies.
Where he
supposedly.
like fighting over getting a chain over him.
They bring it back to the beginning and they leave him in the lake and they say Jason's home and it's like, okay, that would be a good ending, but they had no intention of ending it there.
I just really like the kids who they didn't murder. They were just like
the group of all the younger kids.
Yeah, they're just hiding in the beds. Everyone just hide under the beds. It's fine. Don't worry. And the kids are like, we're gonna die. We're doomed. I don't know what these guys are talking about. We're dead.
Jordan says, I was just about to say, Jayla, I honestly don't want more Freddy if it's not Robert Englund.
Exactly. We don't need more Freddy. We don't need more Michael Myers.
Leave it all behind.
The only franchise of those I feel like really has potential, really needs at least a good solid movie, just one, is Friday the 13th.
Yeah, but we need some creatives that are going to oversee a bigger picture here rather than just movie to movie, because like with the Star Wars trilogy, I'm kidding, I'm not going to do that rant tonight. Ha ha ha.
He's really fighting back his little inner Star Wars gremlin to not get into it. I know he is.
I'm having an easy time not getting into it. I'm tired and I'm ready to move on.
Like I said, if there's anyone I trust A24, and I really, really am excited to see what they do with this.
I will remain cautiously open-minded.
I'm excited. I trust them.
Big final shout-out to Seth Morrison, Jordan, Indiana
Much
Old,
love.
your guy Nix, and Terry, Jayla's parents. Thank you
Hi
all
guys.
for being
Thank you
here
for
tonight.
watching.
Everyone leave a like if you haven't already. Hate to say it, but please do. Subscribe on YouTube and ring the bell so you don't miss any live shows.
Yeah, it's the season to do so, right?
Yes, it is spooky season. We'll be here for, I was going to say for like a month. We're going to be here for a while.
We will.
Spooky season runs through November, but we will continue after that. Also, check us out on TikTok and Twitter at Last Scare.
Also, before we leave, if you have any movies you really want us to talk about or watch, please comment them.
Yes, we are a little burned out on stuff that we don't like. We're really... we didn't enjoy these movies, and so we're like rethinking. Like,
it was really tiresome to watch all three back to back.
We don't really want to talk about stuff we don't like,
right?
And we're scared of The Exorcist Believer because it seems real bad, and
right.
Pet Sematary prequel seems real bad, and I don't even want to watch them. I want to skip them.
But there is a Saw episode coming up soon, so...
Yes, Saw Bonanza. We are excited for that. There's a lot of ups and downs in that franchise as well.
Outside of that, it is spooky season. We're embracing it 100%. So if there's any movies you want to hear us talk about, please let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know your favorites. You never know. We might do an episode around it.
Yeah, if we like it.
We probably will. I trust you guys. I trust your taste. Your taste that's watching it right now.
Yeah. So we're gonna go away now, but don't worry.
I'll be right back.